Welcome to the Delta Source Podcast, your number one source for light rail on the inside of your capital ships. Installation is free. You might say that's foolish, but that's why they call us Crazy Tito's light rail installation.
Yes. Man, I would watch a TV show about a guy who ran like a used speeder dealership in Star Wars. That'd be great.
That'd be pretty good, yeah. Could
Come
be
on,
like
Disney Plus.
Star Wars Trailer Park Boys or something.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I love it. It's just a bunch of Rhodians living on like a little backwater place somewhere, fixing up their speeder, making a redneck hot tub, whatever sort of crazy antics they get up to. Oh
Exactly.
man.
So this time, we're here to talk about the Clone Wars Episode 4, Destroy Malevolence,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to analyze how the opening quote relates to the content of the episode.
Indeed, they are.
So our opening quote this time is that a plan is only as good as those who see it through. All right. A little less mystic.
Yeah, than the last episode, which was a real brain bender.
So the official episode description is: Padme Amidala and C-3PO are taken hostage by General Grievous, leaving Anakin and Obi-Wan to save the Senator and complete the destruction of the Malevolence. Anakin and Obi-Wan chase down the Malevolence, hoping to destroy it before it can escape. But when Padme and C-3PO are captured and held hostage aboard, the Jedi are forced to hatch a new plan. And already we have connections to the quote just within the description.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So, do you have any opening thoughts on the relations here?
On the relations, yes. I do actually. I think that excuse me. Plan is only good as those who see it through. Well, you can kind of look at it from the perspective of both the heroes and the villains as well in this case, to be honest. Because you have, Grievous's plans, which involve capturing Padme, and I think he has every advantage too, because he's got an inside man who's running the Senate, spoilers.
Yeah.
Who's basically feeding him the advantages that he needs to keep his ship.
I guess, by the way, spoilers for this episode.
Yeah, spoilers for this episode and also for all of Star Wars if you can't figure out who Sidious is supposed to be, I guess. But in spite of that, he's just not... Man, he just doesn't have it. He's got all these advantages, but at the end of the day, he can't keep his cool, fancy spaceship. He's just not as good as Obi-Wan and Anakin are.
Yeah.
He does manage to stay alive, but... also the first time that we have to have Anakin carefully written to be in a different part of the very small area that he and Grievous are in, so that they don't meet face to face. Which we should probably keep a counter for that. But
the near miss counter, we're at 1.
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing with Grievous, that he completely fumbled it, even while having this plan handed to him on a silver platter by Dooku.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's Padme, and use her as a hostage. There you go. But he just couldn't hack it,
Yeah, his only tactic the whole time is just ordering his droids around, and that never gets the job done.
No, his droids, they're not, just don't do the job that well. They don't get it done. All right, buddy.
So I guess we could look at it, plan is only as good as those who see it through. Supposing that Grievous was more direct in the plans himself, he may have been better at executing the plans, because he's probably better than the battle droids.
More likely to win a fight, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we have this plan handed down from Dooku. It's more or less a perfect plan. And who does Grievous send to carry out the plan? The worst guys possible.
Droids. Just send some droids down, and they all immediately get wiped out by Jedi because,
yeah,
that's really what happens. So, where's the Jedi? Go in personally. They don't send troopers to do this.
Yeah.
They go in and do it. They get their hands dirty. They get the job done. Be a lead from the front type of leader, I guess, is sort of the message that we should take from this story.
Maybe lead by doing.
Yeah, lead by example. You know, don't rely on your flunkies. Don't just shout abuse at the people that you know have under you, and then rely on them to do the job for you.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to do very well,
So
especially
we,
if they're cheap off the shelf battle droids.
yeah. So as soon as Padme does get brought in with the tractor beam, she immediately develops her own plan, which is pretty cool. Where her and 3PO are gonna hide out and work their way through the ship, and they set the Nubian shuttle to self-destruct. That way, whenever Grievous's forces come to inspect the ship, she takes out a lot of them.
That is also, yeah, she's pretty quick on her feet about that one, I would say.
And Anakin and Obi-Wan come in the Twilight shuttle. Anakin's plan is, Obi-Wan points out how ridiculous it is because he just says their sensors are probably damaged, so I'm gonna fly to the emergency airlock and go inside. And he's like, "That's it? That's your whole plan?" Yup.
You're making a lot of assumptions here, buddy, but all right. Yeah.
So the two parties for our heroes each come up with their own plan, instead of having it handed to them as Grievous did. And throughout the whole episode, their plans end up intersecting and overlapping, and they have to end up adapting on the fly. And no matter what they adapted to, what they come up with, they still manage to see it through, because if a plan is only as good as those who see it through, they're the good ones.
They are, and they have to also. They can directly see the plan change right before their eyes because they're on the ground
Yes.
participating in it. Whereas Grievous has to wait get reports back from whoever he hasn't, if assuming there's even enough of them alive left to report back. And say, hey, this plan didn't work. You need to give us a new plan.
Yeah.
That sort of back and forth is really, I mean, that is the fog of war. And if you're the commander and you don't know what's going on your own ship, then that's kind of a problem.
Yes.
As we saw. So yeah, I'd say pretty clear evidence of that planning is important, leading from the front is important, and I think this quote also ties in fairly well. Man, we gotta find one that just is absolutely, wrong for the episode, because so far they've all been pretty good. There's gotta be at least one in there where it's like,
Yeah.
what were they thinking?
It's off to a
No.
solid start, but who knows what
Yeah.
we'll discover deeper into the
So far, we're
show.
4 for 4.
Do you have any more points that you want to discuss about this episode? I have a few.
I have an interesting bit of trivia, which is that apparently during the original draft of this, Anakin's plan of entering the Malevolence was to use a hyperspace micro jump to deploy the Twilight centimeters away from the ship's hull.
Oh.
Which, one, kind of interesting, kind of cool. Two,
Yeah.
they really don't like that hyperspace has rules, do they?
No.
And apparently it's been going on a lot, but someone told them no in this case. So
Oh,
whoever that
okay.
guy was must have gotten, because they didn't do it. Ultimately, they went with the whole, their sensors are probably damaged. I'll just drive right up
Yeah.
there.
I guess
Which instead of the hyperspace jump. So
I guess whoever told them no here didn't under
Make
Disney
them
they did not
fired?
tell Timothy Zahn
Yeah.
no, because whenever he wrote the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy, they employ micro jumps all the time.
well, I don't know if this is even, as I say, I don't want to quibble too much about hyperspace rules because they're weird. But Timothy Zahn also kind of was, I don't know. Yeah, hyperspace mechanics are another conversation for another day. Suffice
Yeah.
it to say, I'm not sure exactly how it ever worked, but it's changed somewhat, I think.
Okay.
Rules were never that clearly established, except for the fact that it ain't like Dustin Crops.
Right. This ain't
main
like
thing that we
Dustin
know.
Crops, kid.
Oh well, we'll talk about that another time. Universe mechanics are a bit in depth for this episode today.
So, I've got a couple of quick references that I noticed that I wanted to point out. While they're Anakin and Obi-Wan are in the Twilight, they have to do an evasive maneuver, and Anakin spins, and Obi-Wan says, "Spinning is not flying." Yeah, but it's a good trick.
Yeah, just like, all right, they're leaning into the memes. Very good.
And additionally, whenever Obi-Wan splits off to go keep the hyperdrive offline within the Malevolence, Grievous ambushes him, and he drops down from the ceiling and says, "Hello there." So
Oh,
that's a
man,
cute
flip the
little
script on him.
nudge and a
Yeah,
wink.
That is a fun little back and forth for sure. Have we
Uh,
seen Obi-Wan say hello there prior to this scene? Did he say hello there in episode 1 or 2?
Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
He said it in A New Hope.
But I
Hello
mean,
there.
chronologically in universe, is it
Oh.
possible that Obi-Wan Kenobi, the character, had the idea of jumping out and saying hello there, making that his thing from General Grievous? Did that happen to him once?
Oh.
He was just like, man, that was good. I ought to adopt that.
You
Is
know
that a
what?
possibility?
That'd be a good thing to investigate.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if maybe that was. I haven't seen Phantom Menace in a bit. I don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
he says it in Phantom Menace, and I don't think he says it in Attack of the Clones either.
Yeah.
I think the first time
It's
so it
entirely
could have been.
possible.
Yeah, just a fun because obviously, yeah, out of universe, it's a callback to Sir Alec Guinness's
Uh-huh.
genre-defining performance of in New Hope, but on a in-universe chronology perspective, I don't know. I don't know. That's definitely worth looking into.
Yes. So my last point is a question.
Okay.
You were talking about how Grievous has the ultimate advantage with being connected to Palpatine. So Padme gets lured here because, quote, the Senate was told the banking clan wants to negotiate a treaty.
Mm.
So someone told the Senate that the banking clan wants to negotiate a
I
treaty.
wonder who told the Senate that.
How suspect is this, and how could it or should it have led suspicion back to Palpatine this early in the war?
And why did they say like they'd like to negotiate a treaty here in the middle of nowhere in deep space?
Yeah.
Why would you not go to a planet for that? Yeah, I don't know, man. That's kind of questionable.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's entirely possible that he would have like had some diplomatic, like there might still be embassies from the banking clan or something in the Senate,
Yeah.
and maybe he passed a package along to one of the diplomatic staff on Coruscant saying, "Hey, deliver this message to the Senate." But on
Mm-hmm.
the other hand, the first time that I get a diplomatic package from someone that I'm kind of at war with telling me they want to negotiate and it drops me in the middle of nowhere in a battle, I'm not going
Yeah.
to be listening to them anymore.
Kind of
probably.
burned that bit of diplomatic
Yeah.
clout.
I don't know that. Yeah, that's for sure. That's kind of interesting though. I hadn't considered they really do need to. I don't know. I know people hate it when Star Wars has like in-depth political stuff about the Republic and whatnot, but honestly, they could really stand to do it a little more. Like,
Yeah.
I find it interesting, and we definitely need a little bit more of it just to figure out if you're going to tell stories that involve the Senate. You gotta, and maybe this show, later episodes of it, will do that a little bit. I know there's some Senate episodes that are very
Right.
focused on the Senate, but I don't know. I don't remember how much it got into the specifics of the political reality of the Old
Yeah.
Republic because I was, 15 when I watched them for the first time, and I got enough of that in government class. Thank you very much.
Well,
Mm.
I'm sure we'll see how that unfolds when we get there.
I'm sure we will. I think it's season 3 or 4. But I guess that's about all we have for you today. Fine folks out there in podcast land.
Indeed. This has been the Delta Source Podcast, your number one source for investigating suspicious political actions.
Yeah, we're a real watchdog group, that's for sure.
Galactic whistleblowers. Anyway, may the Force be with you.
Mm.
Have a good one.